So now we'll go over the chords that are associated with each mode. Alright, so I'm going to look up a diagram and I will show you that diagram right here. Alright, so now that you have seen all the all the chords that go along with the modes, I'm just going to briefly run through them. Just talk about each one and blah blah blah. So if in the key of C you have Ionian, and the associated chord that would be C major. Now I'm just going to stick, I'm not going to do seventh and stuff like that. Just the basics. So C major chord. And that goes with C Ionian. A little too simple, I don't have anything to say about it. Going on to D Dorian, the associated chord would be D minor. And I'm not going to go over chord construction, but a major chord is 1, 3, 5, the notes in the key, and the minor one is 1 flat 3, 5. I'll talk a little bit more of that in a second. But the chord for D Dorian is D minor. And so if you were to play the D Dorian shape, you would hear Dorian sound over this chord. And Dorian to me also has a kind of cool sound like Mixolydian, because it doesn't quite sound happy, but it doesn't quite sound sad. And it just kind of has this interesting balance in between that sounds interesting to me. So Dorian is my favorite mode. We're going on to Phrygian. It's also minor. Alright, so that's basically it. Phrygian, you know, a cool Egyptian sound. The minor aspect of it kind of highlights it. So I'll describe and I'll go back to Dorian. Sorry if I'm confusing you. But with Dorian, so as I said before, a minor chord is a 1 and a flat 3 and a 5. Now these are all based off the key of Ionian. That's what the little formulas are. 1 flat 3 5, 1 3 5, 1 3 flat 5, 1 flat 3 flat 5. Don't worry about that yet. Dorian, if you look at the actual key itself, so you have, now if you kind of think for a second, what is D major? What happened to the key of D major? You have right, so in the key of D major you have a F sharp and a C sharp. And so the point of these little formulas is that the only things the formulas tell you is how the mode differs from the key. So if you had D Ionian, it would just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But we have D Dorian, and the way we represent that is that it has a flat 3. So instead of having F sharp, it has an F, and instead of having the major 7th interval, it just has a regular 7 interval. So the way we represent that is that it would be, I'm just doing this off my head, I don't have it written down, but it's 1, I believe it would be 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7. And then Dorian. Alright, so pretty big difference there, but that's the representation. And then, so going back to Phrygian, so the difference between that one and the major key is that it has like a flat 2. I think it has a flat 3. It has a flat 7. It has, I think, flat 6. Either way, I'm not going to go over those in specific. But the chord, it has the B, right? There's a 5 here. So this note here, just the root note of the chord, E minor, clashes with the 2, right? But then also we have the B, which clashes with the 6. So when you play Phrygian over an E minor chord, you get this kind of bounce back of mood. Kind of hard to explain what I mean, but So I don't know if you can know what I mean there. But the notes in the chord are very close to some of the notes in the key, so those notes will sound a little more harsh and against the grain, while the notes that aren't directly sitting next to the chord will sound a little happier, and they'll fit more of the mood. But the minor interval here, the G, that represents one of the differences between E Phrygian and E major. Because in the E major, it would have a G sharp, right? Because that's what an E major chord is. 1, 3, 5. But the flat 3 in the minor chord accents the fact that in Phrygian, you actually have a flat 3. And it's the same thing with Dorian. Remember I said the I think it's like 1, 2, flat, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 blah. 1, 2, flat, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I said earlier that Dorian has 1, 2, flat, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat, 7, or something like that. But we have the minor 3 in there showing the fact, or accenting the fact, that Dorian has that flat 3. And Phrygian has it, Dorian has it. Ionian accents the fact that it has the regular 3. And that is the point of these chords. That's why it gives you this sound, because the certain chords will have certain tones from the key in there, and it'll accent the fact of, you know, whatever the mood is of the mode. Going on to Lydian, it would be F major chord. And Lydian is a little interesting. I never liked it that much. It has this kind of pretty sound to it. And when I say pretty sound, it just sounds pretty. I don't know how to explain it, but Steve I likes it a lot. I don't know. If you like it, use it. But yeah, so F major goes to F Lydian, and the chord tones in there accent some of the special notes in Lydian. To G Mixolydian, the chord, as I said earlier, G7 works over Mixolydian. But you can also just do G major, and it'll also accent the fact. The G major 7 accents the chord a little more, because in G Mixolydian you have a flat 7, right? That is the only difference, actually. The only difference between major and Mixolydian is that it has a flat 7. So usually when you play Mixolydian, you use a 7 chord instead of just the major, because it is more Mixolydian than the major chord, right? So using that 7 will accent that fact a little more. Alright, and going on to Aeolian. So that is the minor key, right? If you remember. Aeolian is minor, so Aeolian is A minor. That's not actually the right key. Alright, and the chord A minor accents, just like all the other ones, the fact of, well, not the fact, the sound of the mode. It shows the mood of the mode a little more than just the mode itself. And Aeolian, the formula for that would be 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7. And the chord has the flat 3. Now you can also add a flat 7 in there, and it'll make it sound even more Aeolian than just a regular minor. And the more specific chord tones you throw in to the chord, the more it kind of restricts you to that mode, right? I'm not going to go into this whole like chord theory. That'll have to be another video. I'm already throwing a ton of stuff in this video. But then we go on to Locrian, right? So we have B Locrian, and the chord that goes over that is actually diminished. And so if you're playing that, right? So the diminished chord I guess that's one way to play. You can play diminished chords like a million different ways. So you really just, a diminished chord is really just 2 minor thirds stacked on top of each other. So minor third. But that's not in the key, so I'll skip to this one. And you know, you can play these any way you want, really. So, all right. So the last one we're going to do is Locrian, and if you remember from what I showed you earlier, you can do it here if you want, or you can go up here, and then you play the B diminished chord over it. That's one way to play a B diminished chord. There's like a billion ways to play diminished chords. And obviously you play anything over diminished, it sounds evil, but the diminished helps accent the fact that you have that evil sounding flat 5 or sharp 4 in there. And not only that, you have the octave above it, and you have a minor third. And all those notes are in the key, and so diminished just works the best over Locrian. It makes it sound even more Locrian than just playing a B, solid B over, or just a flat 5. Alright, so now I'm going to show you just a picture that has all the chord formulas on it. So ready, set, go! Alright guys, that's it. I am going to show you in this lesson. I hope this helped you out in some way. I tried to cover all the little beginner things about modes and just kind of throw them all in one video. If anyone has any questions, leave me a comment or send me a message or something, and I promise you I will respond. Or if I see it, I'll promise you I will respond. I'm going to make more of these, going on to more of the specific areas of modes and blah blah blah, music theory, etc., etc. Just let me know what you think and what in particular you would like me to cover, because I'm sure I explained something badly in this. And yeah, thanks for watching. Talk to you guys later.